Hey guys, how's it going? Danconia here, and welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup 2020. I'm going to call it 2020 now, because why not? This is kind of like, it's meant to be a transfer roundup, it mostly will be a transfer roundup, but there's also a few other things to go through. So we are going to start off with something I'd like to ask you guys, and that is the question, would you like me to expand the transfer roundup to not only the Overwatch League, but to do it for the rest of Overwatch esports in general? Like, do you want me to do a transfer roundup that will cover not just the Overwatch League, but say the transfers going into Element Mystique at the moment, because obviously they're rebuilding their roster after a lot of them were targeted by the Overwatch League teams in the off-season. Would you like me to cover all the transfers that I know of in contenders and stuff like that? And that includes regions like, there's been a few transfers going to the Sydney Drop Bears and places like that, so I can expand the transfer roundup if you would like to. And that is something I want to offer you guys in the future if you would like it, because obviously the transfer roundup will become much quieter as we get into the season starting. So it might become less and less frequent that these transfer roundups come out, and they might be more frequent if I can cover more contender stuff. So that's up to you. I put it out there for you, for your choice, basically. Second thing, we have a map pool for the Overwatch League for 2020, or the start of it anyway. Map pools will be changed periodically. Obviously there's no stages in the Overwatch League for 2020 anymore, or therefore, you know, going forward there will be no stages, so they won't change as per stage. They will just stay there. I don't know how often they are going to change, to be quite honest, but we do have our first map pool for the Overwatch League 2020, and it consists of 5 control maps and 3 of all the other map types, because control is used as a tiebreaker map, so we are, you know, likely to need more maps and therefore more variety in the control map pool. Starting off with control, we will see Ilios, Busan, Lijiang Tower, Oasis, and Nepal. I'm sure London Spitfire are thrilled to see Ilios and the Oasis in there. Assault will be Hanamura, Horizon Lunar Colony, and Temple of Anubis. 2 CP is never brilliant. I like to see Hanamura in there. Out of all the 2 CP maps, Hanamura is one of the best in my opinion. At least we don't have to put up with Paris. And Hybrid, we're going to see Blizzard World, Iconvold, and King's Row. I'm sure we're all probably very glad to see King's Row in there. And then with Escort, we are going to see Junkertown, Havana, and Dorado. Dorado always seems to be a map pick for early season, I've noticed. I don't know whether it's just me talking a bit of rubbish, but I always seem to feel that Dorado is used early on in the season and not so much later in the season, but maybe that will change this time. But we are seeing Dorado for the first map pool of 2020. And we are seeing the relatively new maps of Junkertown and Havana, obviously introduced later in the game's history. Havana, one of the newest maps in the pool. Havana lends itself a lot to bunker in the early stages, especially at the first point. Although, will bunker be as strong in the new meta? Probably not. So, we will see as we go into the Overwatch League 2020, but that is your map pool for the first part of the 2020 season. I don't know when the map pool will change. That is up to the Overwatch League to tell us, and they haven't told us yet, I don't believe. So, moving on. And we have got some updates on the talent. Now, I told you, or we discussed, that Jake retired in the last transfer roundup video. As we suspected, Jake has gone into casting. He will be an Overwatch League caster for 2020. We don't know who his partner's going to be. His casting partner in the Overwatch World Cup was Lemon Kiwi, I believe. So I don't know whether they'll promote her from contenders or they might bring in someone else. We'd like to see ZP in here, but I don't think that's going to happen somehow. I don't know why they don't want ZP, or perhaps ZP doesn't want to do it. But we will see who Jake is partnered with in the future when we get the full list of talent being used for 2020, which I will go through at some stage. Then we have another talent update, and this is the addition of an analyst. Now this is going to intertwine with the transfer roundup that I'm doing today. It is Custer. Custer has retired from the LA Valiant and retired from Pro Overwatch. He will now be an analyst as part of the Overwatch League talent. I don't know whether he's going to do talent. He's going to be definitely an analyst. I think he's going to be part of Watchpoint. I'm not sure whether he will be part of the actual broadcasts of the games. I hope he is, because Custer's really good at it. And we saw him, I believe, in the playoffs at one point. I can't remember whether it was the inaugural season or this season, but we did see him doing a bit of analysing on the desk there. So Custer's definitely a great addition to the analyst team for the Overwatch League, and I wish him all the best. But, without further ado, shall we get into the transfers that we have to talk about for basically the past couple of weeks? Now, first of all, we are off to the Dallas Fuel. they have signed a new assistant coach. It is Yong from Element Mystique. Element Mystique have been continuously raided throughout this off-season, and it hasn't really died down too much. Yong is a great assistant coach pickup for the Dallas Fuel. Obviously seen a lot of success with Element Mystique in the past year or so. Element Mystique picking up loads of trophies in Korea, and were contenders champions in Korea, and are current gauntlet holders as well. So he's got the pedigree. Can Dallas Fuel make the most of it though? Because that's always the question I have with Dallas Fuel. You never know. There has been a managerial change at the Paris Eternal. It is Avala. She has moved from... She was at the Washington Justice last season. She is now assistant general manager at Paris Eternal. Of course, she's part Korean. She's also Australian as well. She will do a very good job, I'm sure, of kind of mashing together this Paris Eternal roster. We've got a very mixed Paris Eternal roster right now. So I would assume that this is a move to try and make sure everything integrates pretty well. Because, you know, there's going to be language barriers to start off with. I know Sparkle did say it earlier on, I think this week, on Twitter, that there is a language barrier that they are gradually overcoming. And it'll be work in progress for Paris, but believe me, stick with it, because I think you could reap a lot of rewards from what Paris are doing right now. So stick with it, and I think you'll get there eventually at the Eternal. Moving on, and we have the LA Gladiators, and our first player movement of this roundup. It is Jaru, moving from Team Envy to the LA Gladiators. He is a DPS player, an American DPS player. I did say back along that I was worried about the lack of depth in the LA Gladiators DPS line and the reliance on Birdwing to pop off. This kind of addresses that slightly, although he's more known for Pharah, Doomfist, Genji, Tracer, Sombra, so still not a Widow in there or anything. There's definitely going to be Birdwing's role at the LA Gladiators, but it is a really good pickup. Team Envy doing really well in contenders. We'll see how well they do coming up with the contenders. The reworking contenders, they'll have to contend again with Atlanta Academy, who are the dominant force in America right now. We will see how that works out. But Jaru is definitely a really good pickup for the LA Gladiators, I should say. And all the best to him in the season ahead. Moving on, and we have not much more to talk about, in all honesty. We're going to move on to the New York Excelsior, who have let their assistant coach, Zet, go. Again, there have been a lot of movements at the NYXL. He's been at NYXL since March 2018. He came from Ardiant. And yeah, it's a difficult one for Excel right now. I don't know really what to make of them. I mean, they lost Pavane early on during this off-season to London Spitfire. And yeah, I don't know where to put this Excelsior team right now. I still think they're a pretty top team. I just think they've lost a lot of coaching quality, if you see what I mean. And I don't know whether they've really got all that much now. I don't know where to put their coaches, basically. They've still got some really, really good players. Obviously, we're talking about the likes of Libero, Sabiolbi, Mano, Jonak. That off-tank role being filled by Hotbar or Bianca, Who Are You, and Nene. We're still looking at a really good team. It's just, can they keep up the improvement that they showed in the 2019 season? Can they get right up there with the likes of San Francisco Shock? I'm not prepared to put my neck out and say Vancouver up there right now just because of the Fisher issue. But yeah, I have some question marks over the NYXL, but we will see where to go with it. And then the last one to talk about, we kind of knew this was going to happen. There is a big shake-up happening at the Fusion University. We are expecting them to be renamed, and this has had a knock-on effect to the Philadelphia Fusion, where Snillo, who was a two-way player between the Philadelphia Fusion and the Fusion University, has now been let go from the Philadelphia Fusion and the Fusion University. He is now without a team. Snillo was promising in the inaugural season, but really didn't do anything, or really have the chance to do anything for the Philadelphia Fusion in the 2019 season. He kind of played a lot of his time in Fusion University, and it didn't look all that brilliant. Fusion University obviously now playing in South Korea, and whether they will move back to NA, because the rules on homegrown players or region-specific players have been relaxed now with the reformat of contenders. Whether Fusion University might now move back to NA, we don't know. But Snillo is not going to be part of the Philadelphia Fusion anymore. And he may find another team. Who knows? But time obviously is getting on now. We're heading into January very soon. But that will round it up for this one. This will probably be the last Overwatch League video before Christmas, I would imagine. I'm not expecting to make any more Overwatch League videos before Christmas now, unless any news comes out. But I'm expecting... Oh, I'm not expecting. The videos for Overwatch League will come thick and fast in January, because we will be doing previews of every single team. So that's 20 videos that will come out. We did it last year. We will do it this year. We will preview every single team. We will do power rankings, and we will preview the season as well as in general. And it should be bloomin' crazy in January for Overwatch League content, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you are new and you want to stick around and see that when it comes out. But there's some also really nice stuff coming out over the next few days, obviously leading into Christmas. I've got a really interesting video planned if I can get it done, possibly for Christmas Eve, which will be really, really cool and a really, really nice look back over the year. And we will also do a little bit of festive stuff, because obviously it is the time of good cheer and goodwill. But I will leave it here for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you'd like to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you now.